of an issue here in the state to the general subject of transmission planning in an energy-only market. I'm going to introduce a particular topic, but first I'm going to introduce our panelists today. I'm going to start down on the far end with Chris Kirksey. He's a professional engineering director of projects for the Summit Power Group. His responsibilities include a broad range of project development activities, includes permitting, land acquisition, and contract negotiations. Chris is from here in Austin as well, and prior to Summit Power, he worked at our local utility here, Austin Energy. He at Austin Energy, he headed their generation facilities. Chris is a Texas Tech alumni, and he's also a member of the Texas Tech Academy of Mechanical Engineers. Move on to our guest here in the middle, Dr. Randy Moravec. He's the executive director of the Texas Coalition for Affordable Power, which is a coalition of 168 entities. So he's almost like a elected official with that many bosses to please. That coalition, they pool their resources to purchase power for government use. Randy, Dr. Moravec graduated from SMU, another Texas university here. He completed his doctoral studies at UT Dallas. He writes articles for professional journals. He's a frequent speaker at the Government Finance Officers Association of Texas and a certified public manager training program. And finally, to my left here, I have Mark Walker. He's Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for NRG Gulf Coast region. He specializes in wholesale and retail market issues, managing regulatory matters, and supporting NRG's operations and development initiatives in this area. He also serves on the boards of the Gulf Coast Power Association, the Texas Renewable Energy Industry Association, and is the chair of the Clean Coal Technology Foundation of Texas. Sounds like a lot of important meetings where you spend your time. Prior to joining NRG, Mark was Deputy General Counsel and the former General Counsel at Ercot, beginning on the actual Ercot startup team back at the initiation of the Ercot competitive market in 2001. Prior to Ercot, Mark spent 10 years as Associate General Counsel for the Lower Colorado River Authority, another one of the utilities in our general Central Texas area. Mark received his BA from Baylor and his JD from University of Texas. So we have just about every university in Texas here represented, with the exception of Texas A&M. We won't let that count as a group. So our panelists have deep experience in electricity supply issues here in Texas, and they're going to shed quite a bit of light on the nuances of the topic that we're going to discuss. I'd like to introduce that topic to you. It was the topic that we were given to really focus on as, again, a practical example of transmission planning in an energy-only market. So I'll just sort of give a brief, sort of factual bullet point background of the subject, and then I'll turn it over to our speakers to really bring some color and some content to it. Back in 2008, Ercot identified long-term power supply needs throughout the state, projecting as far ahead as 2018. As part of that assessment, there were assumptions that the Houston and the coastal region area would have a peak demand shortfall, but that other parts of Texas would have a surplus due to peak demand forecast in the northern areas of the state. In 2010, a similar project to the one we're going to be discussing was proposed by CenterPoint, but that was abandoned in 2011 when it became apparent that it would not achieve the applicable cost savings requirement. In other words, that project was proposed as an economic project. In 2012, in December 2012, in its long-term system assessment, Ercot concluded the following, quoting, Houston region will need at least one additional import path within the next 10 years. The results from the various scenarios that they evaluated were consistent and clear. The Houston region will need incremental or expanded import capacity absent a significant amount of generation development within the area. I highlight that subject because that's really the key to our topic that we're going to be discussing today. In April of 2014, last year, the Ercot Board of Directors voted to endorse the transmission project and deemed the project critical for reliability. For those of you that are familiar with the project, it's essentially 130 miles of 345 kV line with about 3,000 MVA of emergency rating for each circuit. It starts up in the limestone Gibbons Zenith area, Gibbons Creek Zenith area in northern Texas, and it comes down into the general Houston coastal area. It includes upgrading of some existing substations as well, and upgrading of an existing 11-mile line between Horton and Adams. The construction cost in 2018 dollars for that project is $590 million. Eventually, a number of parties took issue with the project, as we know here in Texas, that's a usual occurrence. CenterPoint Energy believed that they should be permitted or allowed to build the entire project by themselves end to end. City of Garland, Texas, and a transmission company, Cross Texas Transmission, contested that distribution of work with Ercot, eventually siding and splitting the project between those entities. And CenterPoint, the Texas Public Utility Commission awarded the entire the project to them in equal installments. NRG and Calpine challenged Ercot's recommendation of the Texas Public Utility Commission and said that the analysis didn't seem to be compliant with the planning standards and the requirements, in particular, that there were inconsistent load forecasting amongst the subregions within the state, and the unusual modeling methodologies were used. However, the Texas Public Utility Commission denied that complaint. So we've ended up in a protracted proceedings before the Texas Public Utility Commission with hugely critical yet seemingly competing issues of reliability and competitiveness. So now I'd like to turn this over to our speakers to talk about the next steps, the underlying issues which need to be resolved before consumers are asked to subsidize a $600 million transmission infrastructure investment. After they've given their initial comment, we'll ask for questions. We'll start with Chris down on the far end and work this